Hello everyone. So today we will look at the concept of definite and indefinite articles in German, right? So definite and indefinite articles. So definite in German means bestimmt article, bestimmt, and indefinite articles means unbestimmt, unbestimmt. This is what we call them in German, right? So let's start with some examples in English, and then we will come to German, and then we see the comparison how it is. So for example, in English we say uh, you know uh, the boy, right? And then we can also say the car, right? The boy is tired, or the car is big, right? Something like that. And we can also say in a similar way, the sorry, in the similar way, a boy is tired, or a car is big. So when we say like the boy is tired, then we are talking somebody like specific, right? We are saying the boy, like a specific boy. Or when we say the car is big, then we say a specific car, yeah, right? We are either pointing to a car, or we are talking about a specific thing or a specific person. Then we use the definite article in English, which is the, right? And then if you just talking about a general thing or a general person, for example, a boy is tired or a car is big, you are not pointing to a specific one, right? You say like a car is big, you know or a boy is tired. Then say you are using a, and then this is called indefinite article. So in the same way we have in German, right? Definite and indefinite article. But uh, there's a thing in English, for example, that the boy, here the boy is like a person, and here we have a thing. Both have the article, right? They both had the definite article as the, right? And then we came to indefinite article, a boy, a car. They also had the same indefinite article. But this is not the case in German. We still have definite and indefinite article, but they change depending upon the gender and and the thing, right? For example, if it's a male, then the article is different, and it's a female, the article is different. And they are also different if it is a definite article or indefinite article. So today we will look at both the articles, definite and indefinite, for accusative case and nominative case. So in accusative case, then the person or the thing is object, and in nominative case, the person or the thing is the main thing, it is the subject. And then we will look at the articles in these cases, right? So we can look at this in a table form. So as I said, in English, I mean, we have the and a, irrespective if it was a person boy or a thing car, right? But in German it changes depending upon the gender, right? So let's look at the definite article first, right? And then we will look at, because it will change depending upon the gender, so we can write masculine, right? We can say feminine, and then we can say neutral, which is called neutrum. And then we can have plural form, right? So you have masculine in nature, something feminine in nature, neutrum in nature, and then plural. It can be many things also. And then what are the articles we will use? So we see them for nominative case and accusative case, when they are as the subject or as the object, right? So subject as a subject or as an object. So we will look at the sentence example also. So the articles in this cases, the definite articles are there, the, thus, and then the for plural. And when the same thing goes in accusative, then it becomes then, there becomes then, and then everything else remains the same. Then, the, thus, the, right? So we have there, the, thus, the, but when we have accusative, then it becomes then, but everything else remains the same. They, the, thus, the. So this is definite article, right? So this act as like the, right? So for example, if I say like from the above example, thus auto is grows, right? So here we have thus auto, the car is big, right? It is acting as the, and we have used because auto in has an article of thus, so it is neutral, and it is as a subject here in nominative case. So this is nominative, so we use thus, right? Now I can say I have the car, right? So then the sentence will be same sentence. Ich habe das Auto, right? So now auto has an article of thus, but now in this sentence the subject is ich, so this is nominative, which is a subject, but thus auto is the object. I have the car, right? So this is accusative and this is object. But we see, right, when the same thing is an accusative, the for the neutral case nothing changes, it has the same, right? So now let's look at the example for which it changes, right. For example, let's do it in the parallel and then we will need it. So their man is alt, the man is old, right? Here I have their man, right, and it is in nominative because it is the main subject and he is old, right? And for there in nominative the man has the article there, right? So we have there here in nominative. Now I can say mm, here, so let's do now if the same subject becomes the object, then what it will be, right? Then I can say ish, ish kenne den man, right? So I'm saying here I know the man, right? This man, I know him, right? So then ish is in the nominative here, and then the man, then man is accusative. But we already know that from the table that there goes to then, right? So here I have used then, right? So you have to memorize the table, but that's how the articles are, right? And then once you know the table, then you can change the article in the sentence. So this is for the definite article, right? The, it represents as the in English, right? So all this represent the in English. It's easy because everything you use the, but in German it changes depending upon the gender, masculine, feminine, neutrum, and plural. And then also it changes if you are in nominative case, accusative case, dative, or genitive. But here today we will only look at nominative and accusative, right? So now let's move on. Let's look at the indefinite article for the same thing. So I will just overdo on the same table so we can compare, right? So let's do indefinite article. So we will do just here indefinite, right? So this is indefinite article again below this. So this in English should give the feeling of a, right? A car, a boy, right? A man, right? In the same way. So indefinite article, then we have for the masculine, feminine, neutrum, plural in the same way, and it changes. And for uh, the nominative and accusative case, it also changes. So it is ein, eine, ein, and nothing for plural because right, there's nothing of plural to say right. And then the accusative case becomes einen, eine, ein, and nothing here, right? So let's highlight this. So we have indefinite ein, eine, ein, then einen, eine, ein, right? So this gives the feeling of a, right? So let's look at the examples again. So I say a car is big, right? So I can write the same sentence, ein Auto ist groß. So a car is big. Here the car is the subject, so I have used ein, right? And now the car can be object also, so I can say ich habe a car, right? Ich habe ein Auto. So ich habe ein Auto, right? But here it is thus. So if you already know that thus, in the thus neutrum, which is for the car, we have ein, it doesn't change anything, right? So ich habe ein Auto, right? And here ich is again as the nominative, which is the subject, and ein Auto is accusative, and it's the object. But for neutrum, nothing changes, right? Now then I can say a man is old, right? A man is old. So I will say ein Mann ist alt, right? A man is old, right? But man is there, and there has ein from the table as the indefinite article. So I write ein Mann. But I can also write ich kenne einen Mann. So Mann has the there article, and then for the indefinite, which has ein in nominative case, but it changes to einen, right? So that's why I used here einen Mann, right? So here, so we have added an en, right? So this is for indefinite article, and it gives the feeling of a. And then we have definite articles, which gives the feeling of the. And in nominative case, we are there, the, thus, the, for masculine, feminine, neutral, plural. And then in accusative case, only for masculine something changes, then there becomes then, ein becomes einen. And then feminine remains the same, the, eine, neutrum, thus, ein, and the for plural case, and there's nothing in the indefinite article, right? So I hope this was clear. If you have any doubt, you can write in the comment sections, you can make notes, and you can also try to make sentences for definite and indefinite case and write in the comment. I will look at them. So maybe in the next video or other video, we will look at not just nominative accusative, then we can look at dative and genitive case, how's the definite article or indefinite article changing its form. So till then,